This week on Dumb Pitches, my guest is Josh Edelman, and we are filled with company ideas. Are they good or not? We don't know, but we're going to need your vote. And then we're going to end the whole thing with a personal story, maybe the worst idea we've heard in a long time. If you have food poisoning, but you need your boss to believe you, you go into work, and what happens, happens. It's a devastating story. I'm excited for you to hear it. Here we go, Dumb Pitches.
What a bunch of dumb pitches. Oh my goodness.
Welcome to another episode of Dumb Pitches with Monica Nevi. I'm Monica Nevi, your host. This is the show where we have successful people talk about their worst ideas. I'm excited for in studio, our great new studio guest today. Josh Edelman is here with me. Yay.
I've never been introduced as successful person before.
You know, there's a first time for everything, so that's good. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
You are up from Los Angeles?
Yeah, I live in Los Angeles.
Nice.
Despite my hat that says New York.
Are you from New York originally?
I'm not even from New York originally. This hat causes me, maybe this hat's a bad idea because it causes me to get into such a longer conversation
I was going to say, do people ask
with
you
people about my hat and where I live and what's happening in my life than I lived in New York for 10 years.
Okay.
And my family's from New York. And I'm from Boca Raton, Florida, which is like, New York, the tropical sequel. It's like New York, Mission, Miami. That's
Got
like
it.
Boca Raton.
Nice. That's okay. That's so funny because here too in Seattle, walking around with a hat like that, they'd be like, "Oh, I gotta ask this guy about
If
being
he's
in
from
New
New
York."
York.
No one's gonna actually talk
And
to you.
I
but
give off an extreme New York vibe,
Mhm.
I think.
Yeah. Definitely compared to everybody else walking around here.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Also compared to everyone else walking around in LA, even though I've been
That's
there
true.
for 12 years now.
Yeah. Wow. Look at you. Okay. Well, good. I'm glad you're here. We have we like to intro our guests with some more good ideas, your credits, so that people know you haven't only had bad ideas, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, yeah.
So you are a stand-up comedian, very funny, and you also are a filmmaker.
I am a filmmaker.
You've done a documentary called Mentally AI.
Mentally Al.
Mentally Al.
Mentally Al.
Nice.
I guess people probably think it looks like AI now
Yeah.
with the AI boom.
That's true,
I wonder
yeah.
how many people have watched my movie thinking it has
Thinking it's
something
gonna
to
be
do,
about AI.
and it's just like about a sad comedian.
Well,
in
honestly-
fact, maybe the good idea would have been to make Mentally AI
That's-
instead of Mentally Al.
Mentally ill
Which is
AI.
which in many ways could be the worst decision I've ever made in my life. Actually, it's done great, and Al Lubell, who the film is about, is a brilliant comedian.
Nice. That's honestly, reading it, I was like, I did think AI because it's, a capital I and L, whatever, and that font is the same thing. I am much more interested to watch it now that I know that's not the title.
Yeah, nothing to do with it.
Sounds
Although I
way
have
more-
recently been interviewed for a documentary about comedy and AI.
AI, yeah. Interesting.
So I hope they don't call it Mentally AI because that's going to cause a lot of problems.
Real confusing. You also have a podcast called the Rogaine Experience.
I do. Thank you. Yes.
Yep, okay.
Yeah.
And you've done, you've had lots of ideas that you've
I've had
gone through with, at least.
I've had arguably only bad ideas so far. Becoming a stand-up comedian,
Yes.
spending all my own money on a documentary,
Hey.
doing a podcast whose SEO on the internet just redirects everyone to a different podcast.
Did you name it that because you wanted the opposite to happen? Where they'd
Actually,
be like halfway through and be like, I don't think this is Joe Rogan.
truth is, so I've had old podcasts, and I was trying to come up with a new one, and I was on a person's podcast, and they were trying to make fun of me, and they told me I should call my podcast the Rogaine Experience. And I was like, actually, I like that.
Yeah, you're like, you know what? I'm
Actually,
going to do
I'm
it.
going to go with that. The funny thing is, the name, like people love the name. People like watch the clips and stuff because of it. The views on the actual show they've been growing, so it's actually been doing all right. The best idea was I went to Edinburgh and did the Edinburgh Fringe Fest in August.
Nice.
And I wanted to call my show something else, like my one-man show.
Yeah.
But my friend who had been to the festival before, like implored me to call my show the Drew Rogaine Experience.
I do think that's, especially for a live show,
it really
captures your attention.
It really worked. Like I got a lot of people to the show
That's
from
great.
calling it that.
That's really exciting. Nice.
And then they were disappointed that it had nothing to do with Joe Rogan whatsoever. But it does have to do with being Jewish and bald. So
There you go. That's in the title for sure. And then you're actually up here in Seattle doing the Seattle International Comedy Competition, and you've moved on to the semifinals. Which is
semifinals, baby.
that I can
Third place in the first
first night.
first show,
Yeah.
barring any fantasy football reconciliation points.
Yeah. They
Like
change every
the
once in
time
a
it
while.
happened, it was like the same experience I had, because like in round one I had one where I didn't place, and the next day they're like, actually you did, and it felt just like when I would play fantasy football and I'd lose by like 0.1, but then they'd give somebody a reception that night that they didn't have, and then suddenly I won. I was like, oh wow, that's amazing.
Well, it feels like it's an emotional roller coaster doing that competition, anyways.
and it's created an extra level of emotional roller coaster
You're
too.
like, okay,
because
I'm
now
upset,
that
but
I
I
placed
could
third,
still-
I watched a guy go from second to tied in fifth with me that day that happened. So I'm like, am I really third? We can't really assess where we're at till the final tallies actually come in.
It is, if you've never been to a comedy competition in general, it's, everybody's a little bit more on edge. Even if you want to not care, you still do.
I used to say comedy competitions were bullshit until I started winning. And I'm like, I think they're the real deal.
I think these are important.
I don't know about the places.
This one, if you make it to the finals, it's 3 weeks out of 4 that you're doing comedy for this competition. And so you're, stressed the whole time. So we wish you the best with your stress. But that's not what we're here to talk about. When I gave you the criteria, the ideas, what did you come up with?
I struggled. I was like, come on, Josh, come up with some bad ideas. But being the brilliant idea man
Really
I am, I can only come up with good ideas. So here are some of here's like the thing. These are probably bad ideas, but in my head, they're good ideas.
That's okay. We like somebody who's committed,
Yeah. So again, I don't know if this is even a bad idea. I think this is a company. Here's the thing, people come up with good ideas all the time. The thing that stops a good idea from happening is all the work you have to basically dedicate your life to any idea.
And we do say on this show that we're just ideas people, you got to put the legs on it.
If somebody makes this idea, I will purchase it.
There you go.
But there actually is a company that has the same name as this idea. It's called Smashbox.
Smashbox.
Okay. And the actual Smashbox is a makeup company that exists.
I was like, I've definitely seen that before.
But what my Smashbox is, it's a box full of already broken stuff, like broken phones, broken computers, broken things that constantly I want to smash of my own. Like frequently, I'm frustrated with my phone and I want to just throw it into the ground. But that would be crazy because this is so expensive and would cause me a lot of problems.
Yeah.
But if I had an already broken identical phone that I could smash instead of my stuff, that would, so it's like a box. It's basically, I'm saying a box of junk.
Nice. Okay. And so then you can, that's so funny because.
But it's for people with anger problems.
Yeah. But and I keep saying it, which I probably shouldn't, but my son has a watch that's just it's just annoying. And he's playing with it all. Anyways. And I keep being like, I just want to smash it with a hammer.
But
if you had to worry about it anymore.
If you had a Smashbox watch,
you could take that out.
You could go into your room when you're annoyed with your son and start just hammering the Smashbox on the website. There's pictures of all the different Smash products. So you can curate your own.
I was gonna say, can you order a box and then you kind of choose what's gonna be in
at
there?
all, so you can't do any of it.
Well, then you can say yes, so you can do whatever you want.
Theoretically, you could create your own Smashbox that you order full of the stuff you're going to break.
Different types of
when you're raging.
Different sizes, because if you get a whole computer. That's a little bit.
I
Well,
wanna
I guess a
throw-
laptop maybe.
See, but it gets tricky because it's like I want to throw my computer into a wall sometimes, but that's going to both damage the computer and the wall. So I need a smash
true.
wall as like an accessory to the smash box.
I mean, you really could expand.
which is
I'm
a
sure.
wall you can throw your stuff into that can also be smashed. Just continual layers of.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, this is like it's longevity here of what you can continue
And then maybe you can get like abusive people could have like smash girlfriends.
Yeah,
who
I
are
was literally
already
just
dead-
thinking like a
dead bodies.
smash person.
They smash boyfriends.
As dark as that is, that could really save some people. You know,
Really,
yeah.
you just need to smash. They're basically blow up dolls, but they like bruise.
I've never been an abuser, but if
I've
you
never have.
maybe if I don't know if that's do you want them to bruise or are you just getting the but
You get
this
the-
could
the
be
rage.
helpful for
I didn't
anybody.
mean blow up doll. I meant like a sex doll.
Yeah,
like, type
those
thing.
like there's like a little bit more heft
Yeah,
to it. Yeah,
you need to, because that's the thing. It's like
you gotta feel
you gotta
the same.
feel- That's
yeah.
why I want the broken phone that looks like it works.
Yeah.
because you want that. You want to feel like you're smashing your phone.
Yeah.
It's like saying frickin' doesn't do the trick. You gotta say fucking when
Yeah.
you wanna.
I like the idea of you being on the phone with someone, getting really mad, and then putting yours down and picking up the other one and throwing it.
Throwing it.
Yeah, just
Yeah,
having it
yeah,
with you.
yeah.
I mean, it's not. I think that's pretty good, and it's like, well, with your
Sharks. Here's my idea.
yeah, exactly.
This shows the opposite of Shark Tank.
That would be great. That would be such a. It is the opposite of Shark Tank, but that would be a great. Like pitch on Shark Tank if you're like, oh, this is your phone, huh? And then you just smash it on the ground. And they're like, what the
Then
fuck?
what are you doing?
Yeah.
What are you doing? What'd you do to one of my 8 phones?
I think some of those sharks have anger issues. So
Yeah, I'm
that
sure
could
those
be-
sharks still want to just smash their own real stuff. 'Cause
They're
they
like,
can
I just
afford
fucking
it. They can
microphones.
afford to smash. their
That's
stuff.
true. They
I
probably
wanna
do.
be at a level of wealth where I don't need a smash box.
There you go. I can just smash my real phone and get
Yeah,
another
yeah,
one
yeah,
the same
yeah.
day. There are or were some like rooms that you could go into with stuff that you could smash, or you like pay for
Smash rooms,
certain,
yeah.
Okay.
But but you need to bring the room to the home.
No, and I think you're right. This is like it's the same as like, or that felt to me the same as like doing a boxing class or something where you're like just getting it out, but it doesn't have the same
Not getting
like
in the moment.
yeah.
It's almost like those those things you can order to like pop fake pimples. I see them on TikTok.
Oh, I'm like from the other room. I have seen those. That's so funny. But yeah, I think the more realistic, the more your brain would kind of make the actual connection of that being a relief, even though. And then, yeah, you don't have to break your own phone. What type of, I mean, okay. We're getting into the nitty gritty here, which I'm sure you haven't thought about, but that's okay.
Trust me. That's me.
Are these products that, like used to work kind of thing, and or
Yeah,
is
yeah.
it some sort of like you just made the
No,
casing
I think
kind of thing?
like in an ideal world, these are like identical products to
Okay,
the ones you
it's like
have.
just
So it's like
recycling program.
Yeah,
too.
it's a recycling program as well.
Yes, you just take your electronics because I don't know what they do when they turn them in. Take the parts out of it, but
ironically, I do have old phones that I never like traded in. I've never smashed them when I was angry at
that's
my phone.
interesting. Well,
So it is right there. The
Worth
true
an
test of whether or not it would work for me.
worth an experiment, maybe. I don't know. That's funny. Okay, yeah. I mean, so far, pretty good idea. I don't hate it.
okay.
Do you have another one for us?
Another one. Okay, how long would this show last? God only knows.
Okay.
But this is the dating game, but with a twist.
Okay.
Okay, so remember the dating game?
Is that the one when they answer
There's like
separately?
the wall between you.
Oh, right.
then
And there's like three contestants.
Three
and-
contestants.
Got it.
And there's
Yes.
the woman or the man on this side asking contestant number 1.
Right, and they go off their
So
voices.
it's
or whatever
essentially
their answer is.
exactly the same, except so it's like it always. I think it really only works. It's got to be a female contestant
Okay.
who's like the one that they're vying for. And then like guy number one's like regular guy number one you'd see on the dating game. He's like, Steve. He's got
Right. I take you out
he's
to
a
dinner.
barista in Silver Lake, but he's like also a model and an actor. He's like good looking and
Right.
and shape. Tom was a college athlete. Now he runs a food truck. And then the third person every time is a 90-year-old billionaire.
Oh.
And they're like decrepit, and they have like a little thing that they're peeing into. And there's like nurses taking care of them, and you're like, duh, who does she go for? There's always
the crowd's always
90, like verge of death. The billion, you can hear the machine beeping that's
Right.
keeping him alive.
Okay, so she can hear his actual voice though.
Yeah.
Okay, so she knows that he's clearly old.
But he gets introduced as 90-year-old billionaire.
Oh, so she
Because they're all introduced. You do get to know.
got it. What their job? Would he
bit
say
about-
billionaire, or he just say retired? 90-year-old retired
No, you gotta say
Jim.
9-year-old
billionaire.
billionaire.
So she knows no matter what. Okay, so is the
Because it's like you have these two guys and maybe she has a connection with.
there's a couple of those shows, where they do like they have like a matchmaker person actually choose people who they think would be most compatible with the person, right? So you have those two first guys are chosen on purpose, not just like, oh, he's hot
they're
or
like-
whatever. They're like
they're
perfect
re-
for
yeah, they're
her
like-
kind of thing.
They're like the types of guys who would be competitive on any normal dating show.
Okay.
But I think it's fun to watch the way everyone kind of like interacts with the situation.
Absolutely. Because you don't want to be too obvious if she's just there for money, right?
Problem with the show is it could really only be one season because once people know what the twist is.
How many 90-year-old billionaires we got walking around?
Yeah, well,
I
you
don't
know, the nice thing about 90-year-old billionaires is they keep, you
Just
keep getting
somebody
older,
gets older.
they stay the same
Oh, that's funny. Okay. Well, and then maybe if nobody picks him, I
He can
don't
come
know if
back
I see that he could come back.
again.
Yeah.
He can come back again. Sure, the other trick is how do you lure this 90-year-old billionaire that doesn't need
I
anything
think he
to be
doesn't
on the
know
show?
that's what's happening.
Yeah,
but
it really is to deal with the nurse.
yeah. It's a nice lady. Come on. The nurse is trying to get in on
Similarly, this was an idea I had with a friend, and nobody likes this idea. But
Let's see.
it's more my friend's idea. So I want to give a shout out to Alex Russick.
Okay.
But it was the Rooms idea.
Okay.
This is a Bachelor type dating show.
Okay.
So where it's like, basically everyone thinks they're on The Bachelor.
Okay.
And again, I think this one works better when it's a male bachelor
Okay.
and all female contestants. The show's called Burrito House. They don't know the show's called Burrito House. And the idea of the show is it's like all the types of people that would be on The Bachelor, all the types of women you see on The Bachelor. But the twist is every meal is burritos. And it takes time for them to catch on, and they're all just competing, and the staff keeps making excuses for why, like the budgetary issues they made a deal with, and then suddenly the events start turning into build your own burrito events that they go to. Today we're going to Tijuana. We're gonna, and you just keep forcing these.
That's even all the off-site dates are still at burrito places.
Yeah, it's all burritos every time, and you watch the slow descent into madness of only eating.
They start just quitting because they can't eat burritos anymore. It doesn't become about love.
Happening? And while all the dating stuff's happening, the real focus of the crew is on the burrito eating and the politics of them picking out their food through and starving themselves. And
they started to just
trying
not
to
eat.
sneak food in and that being caught and being and corporal punishment.
I
for-
have
for
heard
sneaking
other
burritos-
food,
other food,
or
in.
eating it as a salad because you ripped it apart or something. Yeah. That's not a burrito; it's a taco salad. So you need to put it back together. I could see why people don't like that one.
Yeah,
But
yeah, this probably falls into the bad ideas. But would
For
you
sure.
watch Burrito House?
I would
Would you
definitely give
try?
it at least a couple episodes just to see, because that is so silly that
Yeah.
I'd be like, well, and then I think there's like a digestion question there too.
There's
you know, what
that-
happens
that's
to your body when you only eat
when you
burritos for so
only
long?
eat burritos. Now, on an aside to this, I did work on a extremely low budget movie once, like right out of college,
Called Burrito
where
House.
where the director / producer made a deal with a Mexican restaurant to
Okay,
cater the whole thing, and so basically, I had 3 straight weeks of eating the same Mexican food,
Mm-hmm.
and they tried to like make it different every day. But if you know that Jim Gaffigan bit about Mexican
Right,
food, that
where
it's
it's-
all just the same
he's like-
thing packaged
Yeah.
differently. I essentially did live Burrito House.
So
And
this
it was
is-
not fun.
This is maybe where this is coming from. Then some type like art imitating life a little bit.
But there is a difference between like.
What happened to your
Me-
bodies eating
Well,
the
here's
same Mexican
The
food?
problem is that I'm cheaper than I am
Okay.
picky.
So you're like
so free burritos on a daily basis.
I mean,
was not so bad.
I am hungry right now, so maybe that doesn't help. But I'm like, that doesn't sound that bad.
It doesn't
as
sound
far
that
as-
bad. Wait till
but-
week 3 of only eating burritos.
Absolutely. And you're talking about people who have been preparing to be on a dating show on television, so they're probably not eating a whole lot of much anyways, and you know they're stricter of their diets, I would assume, even just right before maybe, but you know.
But I just love the idea of these hot women being like, burritos again.
So you haven't told them that though, so they
But like truth is, so when I lived in New York, I lived in New York. I did live there. When I lived when I lived in New York, I lived above for like 2 years. I lived above Lombardi's Pizza,
okay.
which is like the best pizza place, or at least I thought, as far as like ordering a pie is concerned, the best pizza place in New York. But I did order it so much that I stopped liking it.
Yeah.
It's not even that I didn't like it. It's just like lost its specialness
Yeah.
to me.
I mean,
So
honestly,
you can ruin anything by
Yeah.
overdoing it.
me get like the next day of leftovers, I'm not even sure that, I mean, probably good, but then anything after that is not. Like I can't do the same stuff. We've done meal prepping so many times, and then just like after the second day, been like, I don't want this. I want
Ooh,
something
I
else.
just said this just gives me another. This is a great bad idea. You just had
Just sparked it.
Sparked a great bad idea. So I kind of think leftover Chinese food better than Chinese food.
Okay.
So like when you order the Chinese food and you eat some of it, and then you put it in the fridge the next day, and then you throw it all into the pot and you cook it again, and like it comes its own unique thing.
Yeah.
A restaurant leftovers.
So
where you're getting all of yesterday's food.
got it.
Recooked in the.
Do you recook it, or do you just send it to them in a box that was cold?
I guess you could have both options.
Okay.
I guess you could have both options.
like
but the
a
idea is
Papa Murphy
here's
situation.
the refrigerated Chinese. It's like the refrigerated orange chicken and fried rice that nobody came for yesterday,
Mhm.
but you can order it today from leftovers. I think different restaurants will take their leftover food
Yeah.
to the leftovers place that you can order from.
Would it be a discounted price?
You're getting a discounted
Okay, yeah.
price on the food because they were just going to throw it out.
Yeah.
But the menu's constantly changing.
That's true.
At leftovers, so
We got-
you don't have like
You want a
favorites.
half-eaten
You don't have your
enchilada here?
Well, again, I think that would be the truly terrible idea is that
Right.
you're eating people's half-eaten food.
Actually, people's
I think
leftover,
way
not the
it has to work is
restaurant.
It's like the restaurant, just the
Yeah.
food that was
We're
gonna
gonna
be
dump it out
trash.
anyways.
Instead of giving it to homeless people that need it, instead of
Right.
giving homeless people
Charge
that need
them
it,
a little less.
let's charge rich people again for an experience.
They love that shit, though. That's so okay. When you first said it, I was thinking you would order something from the restaurant and then they would put it in the fridge and then you'd get it the next day. Like that's like one.
That sounds
Which
like
seems,
an even worse idea.
Yeah, that seems even worse.
My idea. The more I talk about my idea, the more good it sounds.
You seem really excited. Honestly, like you're like I would order that right now.
Yeah,
like
I was thinking about leftover Chinese.
Yeah, well, there's something about noodles that I feel like or especially Asian noodles. There's like like pad thai I like the next day too for some reason. Like it's
or even pasta, like cold pasta. Sometimes, especially if you get like a creamy sauce where it all like
congeals weird
and stuff, and then you're eating that. So you think you get the food cold, and then you decide
because you're right. A lot of people like cold spaghetti or cold pizza or whatever. So if you want
on the menu, it says cold pasta.
That's like how the sandwiches like cold sandwich or deli sandwiches and then hot sandwiches or whatever. That's what it is. It's like cold whatever is this section.
There's nothing.
Then you could order it when you cook it. Like, it would be the hot section.
Truly, one of my favorite dishes is those ghost kitchen like pasta places. Like they don't actually exist, but you can order them on like DoorDash.
Oh right, that you can't go to it. But
day after ghost kitchen pasta, I like to call it Mexican pasta cooked in a sink.
So it was
because in my mind,
because it was never served the way it was supposed to be served.
Boiling water in a sink that
they just keep tossing more in.
That some apartment is like cooking a bunch and like scooping.
I don't know if I'm supposed to say, but there's a entertainment venue here that during the day they let somebody else use their kitchen as a ghost kitchen. Yeah, which I was like, I didn't even know places were doing that. But I like the idea of the ghost kitchen leftovers because it was never served the way it was supposed to be ever. Like it wasn't, normally if you're at an Italian restaurant, they bring you the food at a certain temperature on time, or else you can complain about it. But when you get it delivered, it's always a little bit less than it's the next day. So then it's even more incorrect of what they intended.
Like leftover. The biggest challenge with the leftovers restaurant is the the daily updating of the menu.
Yeah. There would be some funds, I think, given to that position.
And then also, I imagine there'd probably be a lot of health code issues.
Yeah. Well, because if you're getting it from other places and they're like,
fathom, I wonder if the what is it that does the health codes for things?
The health department, I think. Yeah, it's the health department.
The health department, they'd be like, I don't even know if they'd know how to
Right, they'd be like no, shut it down, no.
Food poisoning galore.
But then maybe you would be like, well, it's not my
responsibility
because it's coming from somewhere else. Yeah, and then the person is cooking it the second time.
Order the leftover sushi.
No.
No sushi.
Unless you're going to cook it into salmon.
Leftovers, the sushi restaurant.
Any raw. So what oh God. Anyways. These aren't bad. Honestly, I think they're going to have a hard time choosing their favorite of yours.
I'm saying about how I'm incapable.
Yeah. Which one? Well, because honestly, especially with this last one, you can see in your head, you're like, oh, actually, you're like thinking of other parts of it and you're getting excited about it. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it.
But here's the truth of a bad idea. The truth of a bad idea is a bad idea has to come from somebody who thought it was a good idea. Yeah. Who's sitting around trying to come up with bad ideas?
People who are
like when people come in with the bad ideas for your show, how put upon are they?
Well, if it's something like this where they're thinking of a business or something like that, they usually are still like, other people told me this is a bad idea, but I think it's I'm into it.
Exactly.
It's when people tell us things that have already happened. When they're in retrospect, I know that's a bad idea.
Well, I have one other company that I thought of. This is the OG app boom.
Okay.
When apps were popping off, I was like, you know what we need? And this was again when I was living in New York City.
He did live there.
And I almost committed time to this idea, but I thankfully did not. I had an idea for an app called Bar Report.
Okay.
And the idea My idea was it's not even so much that this is a bad idea as much as the execution of this idea is like close to impossible / sort of psychotic.
Okay.
The idea was that bars upload their security camera footage to this app so people could see what's the happening spots.
Okay.
So before you go to a bar, before you like commit to going to a place in New York and LA, you're like, well, let's see what's going on. Bar report, and
So
then
they
you
could
look,
just live stream their
you
security
live stream
camera.
the security, and you see where like the popping off places.
I mean, so some of those places on Google or Yelp or maybe, I don't know, but it'll say like busier than usual or what the wait time is and stuff
so they
because
kind of
people use that.
My idea.
But you're right. But you can't tell what the vibe is
Mhm.
over, if they just write it down, or you can't. Maybe somebody you don't want to see is there, so you can check on the
Exactly.
camera
Or
and be
maybe
like,
someone
"Oh,
you're
I'm
trying to see is
there. You
there,
go.
and
This is
they don't wanna
use
see
them for
you,
very
but
creepy."
you stop going to bars completely because
Or maybe you're one of those people who loves some drama and you just want to see like when fights break out or whatever.
I feel like every idea I've come up with is asking for a lawsuit.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are reasons these don't exist.
It's
but
almost like all ideas are kind of asking for a lawsuit, but especially mine.
I think that's the difference between something that becomes something and doesn't, is that they've weighed out, like, is it worth getting a lawsuit for?
The element of my bad ideas is that they're good ideas that would all lead to lawsuits that make them bad ideas.
Well, I worked for a trampoline facility for a few years, and that is by far the worst idea that is actually a thing. We had so many lawsuits and
Really?
horrible injuries.
Everyone has to like sign away. Like
They sign a waiver,
the
but
sign a waiver says you are going to get hurt.
yeah, and they still get around it somehow. Whatever. That one went bankrupt, but because they got sued all the time. But it was horrible. Like, I've been an athlete forever, and I've coached kids and stuff, and never have I seen injuries like grown men on trampolines. It's the worst idea. It's such a bad idea, but it exists in a lot of places.
I have like, so like when you were telling me about the show, it was like bad business ideas, bad like TV movie ideas, and like bad like choices like you made in life, right? I definitely have things that like in retrospect were terrible ideas that I did.
So it's hard to be as convicted as like, look at this idea when it's something you already know was bad.
But like not like any businesses or like things I made, just like choices I made.
See,
in a moment.
everything you shared with us you could
potentially-
learn that is a bad idea, but right now that's not how you feel.
No, but I guess I could do like something that in retrospect was the worst idea, the worst choice of my life.
Okay.
I've told this story.
I was gonna say, this will be the last one because it feels like it's
How
important.
much time are we at?
We're at 30 now, but we'll.
It's like 10. This is like
Okay.
And I told this story on podcast before, but it was definitely my worst idea ever in a moment, which was I worked at this company in New York for a year. It was like my first
Lived
job.
in New York.
Just want everyone to be in Seattle to know that this is not just for show. I was working at this company in New York, and I was living in an attic with no windows that I couldn't fully stand up in. So in and of itself, first bad idea. I paid $1,300 a month for this back in like 2007. Welcome. Why I don't live in New York anymore.
Took the hat and got out of there.
And I had to like take 2 trains and then walk 20 blocks to my office every day. And my boss, whenever someone would call in sick, would go, they're probably just faking it because they don't want to come into work.
Yeah.
And he would always say it like got in my head. And one night I had the worst food poisoning of my entire life. Like to this day, I've never felt worse in my life than I felt this day. But when I woke up in the morning, I was like, I need to just go in so he can see me for 1 second and then send me home. Despite, like, that's how fucked in the head I was.
No, I used to do that too. I'd be like, I know that I have a fever, but I need to go to work, and have them be like, you have a fever, you need to leave.
what I would have given for this to just be a fever.
So you're like, I need to go shit my pants in front of him or something like what?
So first off, when I lived in like the windowless attic, like when you go to bed at night in a room with no windows and you have to wake up in the morning, like you have no psychological understanding of like morning has arrived. There's no easing into your day. And I was like young. This is like right out of college. So I was like in New York partying late, waking up at 6 a.m. for work. So every morning I'd be just like in the midst of REM and my alarm would go off and I'd go, whoa! That would be how I woke up every day. I also did an insane thing. This would count as a bad idea too. I also did an insane thing where I like thought like I had like one of those alarm clocks that I put like a CD in and it woke me up to the music. And I kept being like, what's something that makes me happy? And I can play this music so I wake up to music that makes me happy. And I decided that Curb Your Enthusiasm is what makes me happy. So my day would always start being like scared awake by bum 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 which is such a perfect kicker for how I start my days. So anyway, I have this horrible food poisoning. Okay. I literally spend pretty much all night in my bathroom shitting and puking. Okay. I have nothing inside of me. I am pale, or I thought I had nothing inside of me. I am pale. I am like pale white. I'm frail. I feel like just truly ill. I got it from this Church's Chicken knockoff that was in Long Island City, Queens, next to my office. And every day for like a year of work, they're like, I got to go there someday. And then I finally did.
And like, I've never gone.
Middle of winter, I take 2 trains into Long Island City. I walk 20 blocks in the snow to my office. One of my coworkers like runs into me like, "Gee, are you all right, man? You look awful." I'm like, I just need Lloyd to see me for 1 second and he'll send me home. I go upstairs into the office. He takes one look at me and he's like, Jesus Christ, Josh, you look terrible. Go home. If you're sick, just call. I leave the office. I get downstairs. I am at the bottom of the stairs outside of my office, furthest possible point I could be from my home, and I just shit my pants. There's no warning. There's nothing that can be done about it. It just happens. And I look back, and this is like, again, 2007, I think. There's no Uber. Oh,
right.
There's no Lyft.
You're like, I still have to walk.
Of them would,
and then
I'm
ride
in
the trains.
Queens, not Manhattan, where I can hail a cab. I look back at the office, the idea of going up there to clean myself up, and I'm like, no one there can ever know this happened. I walk 20 blocks in the snow, like just feel it like running down my leg. To the subway. I get on the subway. Mind you, again, I used to have to go to work at 6 a.m. It's still rush hour in New York. I get on to the train. I'm like, everyone in the train is just like, oh. They start forcing their way through the doors into the other packed trains. Whoever can't, the second the doors open, just ran out. I'm now alone on the subway car.
Everyone knows it's you, though.
Every single stop on the way.
Get on.
This is what happens. The doors would open, a rush of people would walk, turn around and like leave the train over and over and over again. And then I have to change trains at a certain point. So I get off and like I'm on the subway platform and it's like, you ever have like one of those things where it's like a bunch of like the magnet like pushes all the metal
the iron around.
It basically was like that. I got out into a crowd subway and just slowly just like a force, they just started separating them further. And then all over again, I got onto the next train. Everyone in the train's like, oh, start pushing their way into the other cars. And then once again, every time the door opens, you're ready for the absolute worst idea part of the whole thing.
I don't know how this gets worse.
You didn't know this could get worse. It gets, this is
because that was my one question. Are you saying anything during this time, or you're just like,
I am
sitting?
so sure I'm gonna die.
Okay, so you're like, I don't know what these people are.
The level of ill I feel, it's like I've learned that when you think you're gonna die, you don't care about anything. Yeah. So despite being that guy, I am like that guy who's gonna die. Get to my apartment complex. And I guess I'll give you a little precursor to this one thing. I used to have a crush on my roommate at the time.
Okay.
Like, I just thought she was like really hot. Not like anything was ever gonna happen or anything. But when I get to the apartment complex, I'm just like, I feel so disgusting in my clothes that I just take my clothes off in the hallway and throw them down the trash chute, but forget to take my key out of the pocket of my pants, and I'm just like I'm now standing naked in the hallway of my apartment
you can't
complex,
get into the...
and I like knock on the door. This is maybe the only good idea I had. I knock on the door and I cover the peephole.
Oh, nice. That's nice of you.
And I hear my roommate come, and I'm like, Abby, listen, I need you. This is Josh. It's so important that you unlock the door and then go back to your room
and close your eyes.
Like, please promise me you'll do that. And she's like, okay. And then she opens the door and I go to the bathroom and I'd shower, then lie in bed to die, and I don't die.
That's yeah. I mean, riddled with bad ideas.
Riddled with
but
bad ideas.
I mean,
can't like come up with any moment in my life riddled with more.
It is.
Bad
It's
ideas.
really a insight into the idea that you actually just decided I need him to see me so that he'll believe me.
Yeah. What psychological?
What environment has that guy created?
Yeah. What kind of environment was created to make me do this?
Wow. And then just to top it all off, you throw the key down the...
There's a key into the trash with my clothes because I'm like, these clothes need to be gone.
Yeah. I like that you took them off in the hallway. You didn't want to go back into the house like that.
The adrenaline that kicked in when I realized what I did suddenly like jolted me,
right?
Like
why the fuck
alive
did I do that?
again.
Yeah.
But in the moment, I was like, I'm gonna die. Who cares? Throw these clothes away right now. Get in the shower and just I was in such an ill state.
Yeah.
That I didn't think. Take out.
Yeah, I'm gonna need these. Oh my gosh, that's probably that's the one we can decide is for sure a bad idea. The other one's still up in the air, and up to you guys to decide maybe what you like the best.
I want you guys to vote on all the other ones because
which one?
That one's
we know that
sure.
one is bad.
That one's the for sure
well,
bad idea.
We do.
But what about these ethereal don't know?
Yeah,
bad idea.
We do. Awards at the end of the year. They're called the Dummies.
Okay, well,
so
then that
people
one
can nominate you.
That one could count.
There's different categories. So
within the award at the end of the year thing.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, well, you'll be here for the Seattle International Comedy Competition, hopefully for the next couple weeks,
hopefully
and then. But where can people?
Monday,
yeah,
hopefully till the following Monday.
This will come out tomorrow. So, where can people follow you so they can come and see you other times or check out your
follow me
other work
on Josh Edelman Comedy on Instagram, at the Edelmeister on all other platforms. Watch my movie Mentally Al. You can watch my web series, Best Friends web series.
There you go.
You can come to follow the LA Comedy Underground if you're in Los Angeles. I run 3 really cool shows in LA, and that feels like
Feels
and the
good.
Drew Rogaine Experience podcast.
Nice. And we'll tag that stuff in the description of the episode / video. For me, if you don't already follow me, I think that'd be weird, but Monica Nevi. And you should subscribe right here on YouTube for these episodes and lots of other stuff. But also, I'm filming my new special November 25th. So if you don't have tickets and you're going to go, you should get them. But it'll come out on YouTube, and it first comes out ad-free for YouTube members. So if you're not a member, you should do that. You also get these episodes a day early. So I highly recommend it. And then the special will come out after that for everyone, but there'll be ads and all that stuff. So you might as well spend a couple bucks a month to not have ads. It's worth it. Thank you for being here. This was great. Right now, you can just keep watching Dumb Bitches.
You're weird.
Yes.